a little bit of an awkward situation with just the way that the transition happened. I was talking with Richie about this. Obviously, there are similarities with other coaching exits and entrances, but I can't really think of too many situations where a coach wins a national title and then of his own choosing or of the school, either way, is no longer at the school the next year, right? Unless they're like retired, go off in the sun, like something like that, right?
Yes.
So very different. A lot of times when a coach is brought into a program, it's usually because the program's not very good and you're having to rebuild it, or things have gone wrong with that program. But very different in your situation. So can you just, again,
when there's nowhere to go but down. Is that
that might be the title of the episode.
Great start to the interview, TJ. Phenomenal.
But I just want to talk about that. Like, I want to talk about that process because, I mean, you were a coach in an SEC school. It's like you just fell off the, fell out of the sky. Like, you knew that Mark was no longer here, and Mike obviously and the team reached out to you. So you talk to us a little about that process of getting to Tallahassee, and then we'll kind of transition that into talking about the expectations and being at Florida State.
Totally. Yeah, it's funny. I was recruiting in New Jersey at the end of May, and Nate Norman is the coach at Notre Dame, and he and I are good buddies, and we're just sitting there talking, and he's asking how's it going and things like that. And I had this moment of, you know what? Let's think about it, Nate. Like, can you think of any sport where a coach has won a national championship and then left? And like you said, the only case would have been a retirement, but we tried thinking long and hard. We didn't watch that game that we were supposed to be watching because we were trying to think of, is there another coach out there, another scenario where someone was walking into a current reigning national champion, and we couldn't think of one. So obviously, the college soccer world, the women's college soccer world was rocked that afternoon when Mark left. And I've known a couple of people inside of this administration going back to my Maryland days, and I started talking to one of them the next afternoon, Jim Curry. He called, and he was kind of feeling out my interest level, but he was also running some names by me as they started, kind of this process of moving forward. And it's funny, I kind of acted as a little bit of a consultant to him in the process because in many ways right then, I wasn't interested in the position because I wasn't interested in stepping into Mark's shoes. Mark has been unequivocally, in my opinion, and in plenty of people's opinion, the best in the business for the last 15 years, and then clearly the best in the business in the last 10 years. And so who wants to do this? I'm good friends with Wes Hart, who Wes was Mark's assistant in 2013 and 14. So for Mark's first national championship here in 2014. And I've got a little text thread with Wes and a couple other coaches in the SEC. And about a week after Mark left, we were joking about it. And Wes said, I wouldn't touch that job with a 10-foot pole. and Wes had been here, right, for a couple of years. And but then a little bit of time went by, and my mind, I think in some ways I was in a place. I've been at Tennessee for 10 years, and everybody's different. Every coach is different. Everybody in life is different, right? And some people can be in places for 15, 20, 30 years, and that hasn't been me. I was at the University of Maryland for 10 years, and I chose to leave. And when I left Maryland, we had just been in the Sweet 16. We finished, I think 10th or 11th in the country. We were good, and we had a top recruiting class coming in. Not that dissimilar to right now leaving Tennessee. But at that time, 10 years ago, I had a little bit of an itch, right? A little bit of an itch for a different challenge. And I've had a little bit of the same thing, honestly, the last little while. And it's nothing, I love Tennessee. I loved our life. I loved our team. We had a great team returning, and Tennessee is set up to be successful moving forward. But I've had an itch. The question is, was this the place that I wanted that itch to be scratched by? And it kind of got to a place where I was like, okay, Jim, I'll have a serious talk. And I'm 53. thankfully I've had some experience, and a lot of experience in this game is about, you got to be able to recruit, you've got to be able to coach, but also very importantly, you got to be able to deal with people. You got to be able to talk to people. You got to be able to listen to people, right? You got to be a good leader. And that is oftentimes at least half the battle. And I feel like my experiences, 25 years in the college game are going to serve me well. I think I'm naturally a pretty empathetic person. And I've tried to show that for these players because I have all the empathy and understanding and heartfelt, kind of sympathy for what they've been through. But I also know sometimes that's life and change happens. We all face it, right? And so now the last couple months has just been I could talk, for a long time what the last couple months has been about, right? From literally trying to recruit a team, right? Because we had a time, I think, in second week of May where we had somewhere between 9 and 11 kids committed, on our roster for this coming fall. So it's just been about developing those relationships and getting kids to trust me, and then eventually putting together a coaching staff, which I think is we're about to be ready. Probably along with the schedule, announce that within the next hopefully 24 to 48 hours who my assistants are going to be. And I think we have a great staff. We have a lot of good returning players coming back, and then the last piece is just time, right? And I said this actually to Mark on the phone about 6 weeks ago. I said, Mark, I'm really glad that you're healthy, and I'm really glad that you're alive. But to be honest, like, you leaving was a bit of a death for these kids, right? Like you were so much of the reason why they came here, because of who you are as a person, who you are as a coach, who you are as a leader. And then in 5 minutes, you're gone. Yeah, you still there for them when they want to talk, of course, but you were their coach, right? You were their guy every day, and now in 5 minutes you're gone, right? And that is a version of a death. And these kids need time. They need time to heal from that and be able to move forward. And I understand that, right? I understand that. So here we are, 2.5 months later, 3 to 4 months since his departure, and I hope some of that time has healed kind of what these kids have had to go through.